So our first presenter is Professor Lisa Strug. So Lisa is the director of Cancer Ontario and also the director of Toronto's Data Sciences Institute. She's a professor in statistics and computer science and biostatistics, and she holds the Canada Research Chair in Genome Data Sciences. More generally, I've worked closely with Lisa for about the past year, and she's just the absolute nicest person. So thank you very much, Lisa. I really appreciate your time.
Thank you very much, Rohan. I'm going to share my screen. It's a real pleasure to be here and start the day off. Just to introduce the workshop and Rohan, and talk a little bit about the Data Sciences Institute at U of T and in Canada, Ontario. So today I think I'm preaching to the choir here, talking a little bit about what are we talking about. So, this is a reproducibility workshop. Of course, there's many definitions of reproducibility. This is, hotly debated. According to the NSF subcommittee on replicability in science, there's been the distinction between reproducibility and replicability. So reproducibility referring to the ability of a researcher to duplicate the results of a prior study using the same materials as were used by the original investigator. And replicability refers to the ability of a researcher to duplicate the results of a prior study if the same procedures are followed by but new data are collected. And I think this distinction is very important, especially from my lens, and I'm sure today we're going to hear a lot about both, and we may hear the mixing of terms, and we may hear completely different perspectives. But from my perspective, in my genomics lens, in the late 1990s and early 2000s, I guess. In genetics, we have had since then the replication requirement. So speaking not of reproducibility, but of replication, replicability, that we need to repeat something in an independent data set, usually in order for it to be published all together. Then, this sort of requirement is inundated all of genomics, I would say, but new life was given to reproducibility and replicability, of course, with the ASA statement on p-values, and many individuals starting to talk about replicability from the perspective of the issue of measures of evidence, and so also an interesting hotly debated concept, and also inundated the genetics literature as well about the types of measures of evidence we should use to ensure reproducibility and replicability. And then, of course, more recently with these, extremely large data sets in genome data science, thinking now back to the distinction between reproducibility and replicability, and the importance of both, and all of the issues therein. So just sort of this walk down memory lane for me in genomics, starting with the history of the replication requirement to where we are now with big genomics data sets and the huge importance. So when we started the DSI at U of T, this is a very new institute, the Data Sciences Institute. Reproducibility was an important core component to our thinking. So the Data Sciences Institute at U of T is a multi-divisional, tri-campus, multidisciplinary hub for data science activity at U of T. Here's a beautiful picture of our 3 campuses. And the goal is to accelerate the impact of data sciences across all of the disciplines at the university and with our research institute partners to address pressing societal questions and drive positive social change. And you can just see there's just such a wealth of initiatives happening at the University of Toronto across all of our campuses, in engineering, in medicine, in arts and science, in the other campuses, on the research institutes. And so the Data Sciences Institute is really meant to be this sort of focal point to add coherence, to elevate all boats, and to help to navigate the complex landscape, which we, I think we'll hear about across all kinds of different disciplines today. Well, we see that alive and well in the U of T campus. the DSI is multi-divisional. So we have engineering, medicine, public health, information, all 3 campuses. And we have our 3 research institute partners as well. And this is a $11 million investment over 3 years. And as I mentioned, reproducibility weighs importantly in our efforts here. This is sort of an overview of many of the programs that we're funding and supporting. And one of them is a thematic program in reproducibility. So when we say what's our thematic program in reproducibility in the DSI, well, really we're trying to develop widely adoptable methods, processes, infrastructure to share data and code locally and in privacy compliant ways, and develop infrastructure, methods, models that support reproducible and reliable research. And doing this by supporting the efforts of those who are passionate about this. And we have 3 amazing leads. You'll hear from them today on of the reproducibility thematic program at the University of Toronto. Rohan, of course, Jason and Ben, and just lots of excitement and a lot of amazing ideas of how they're going to move the needle here in reproducibility. Really, just to summarize some of their wonderful plans about educating the next generation of researchers on the importance of transparency and reproducibility, removing the intimidation factor for reproducibility in the social engineering and life sciences fields, and supporting DSI researchers to identify their own path to reproducibility in their research. So the thematic program activities kick off with this workshop here today. And so we're very excited about the next couple of days, and then many different activities moving forward. So keep your ears and eyes out for all of the amazing reproducibility programs, workshops, and activities that are going to come forward. And we're really excited, of course, to also announce, and we have several scholars from Cambridge joining us today, as well as the University of Toronto and Cambridge have a partnership, and hoping really to build lots of efforts in research in inequity and reproducibility. So check out the DSI's website. But as I mentioned, this is also, as Rohan mentioned, this is also supported by CANSI Ontario, which is a data science initiative that's across, it's a national organization for Canada, and we are the Ontario Regional Centre. So really trying to do the same sort of things and elevate data science in Ontario and our scholars, and bring lots of opportunities to them with a whole suite of programs as well that will support students and faculty across Ontario. And just wanting to announce for those who didn't hear that Rohan Alexander is the new Assistant Director of CANSI Ontario. Look at that big beautiful picture there, doing some really exciting work at the Florence Nightingale Day, as well as an amazing data science applied in education seminar that you can sign into and watch broadcast through Zoom. Some really amazing seminars that we're seeing from week to week. And also CANSI Ontario supports the Toronto Data Workshop, which was co-founded by Rohan in 2019, bringing together academia and industry to consider, collate, share, and disseminate best practices in data science, especially in data-centric steps of a data science project. And lastly, I think Rohan's amazing work and contributions culminate, of course, in today, which is our workshop on reproducibility, that I will stop talking and pass it over to others to get the day started. But the inaugural workshop on reproducibility took place last year. That was organized by Rohan, and it aims to bring together academic and industry participants on this critical issue in applied statistics and in related areas. And the conference over the next couple of days focuses on 3 areas. So evaluating reproducibility, practices of reproducibility, and teaching reproducibility. So without further ado, I'd like to hand it over to Rohan to introduce our first speaker, and I'm really looking forward to a few amazing days. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Lisa. I think next year I'm gonna have to veto these slides. But